Hello! Hey! How's it going, everyone? alecandstuff here, and I'm joined by...
Well, everyone, this is ShadowLink here.
That's exactly what you did last year. So, we just got back from day one of E3 2019. Super cool. We are now currently in our Airbnb, and I thought it would be cool to kind of just back and do some more of our daily recaps. So, day one was all about this morning's Nintendo Direct, and Pokemon was like the big thing that I did today. My chair is really squeaky. Sorry about that. But that's what we did. So I guess we can go ahead and just start from the beginning. So
my day started off when Alec decided to wake me up very rudely at 8:30 in the morning.
Hey, listen, the night before, I was like, are you going to be ready in the morning to do that? And I was like, he was like, yeah. I was like, all right. And then here I am at like 8:55, and the direct starts at 9, and everyone in the stream's like, where's Shadow? And I was like, I don't know! So, needless to say, my morning I started a little bit earlier than ShadowLink's, but we got together, and we watched the Nintendo Direct together, and oh my god.
There's a lot of games that were happening.
Oh my god, there was a lot of stuff that happened. So, albeit, most of it we already kind of knew about, but the things that we didn't, throwing in the spice, Nintendo. Like, they're up in here like Salt Bay. That's the guy, right? What am I even doing? The Direct went over a couple things like, what was it? They started off with
Dragon Quest DLC.
Dragon Quest, right. So Dragon Quest DLC coming to Smash Brothers, which is like...
The hero.
It's not something that I'm super excited about. I know a lot of people that probably will be. But apparently, the Dragon Quest protagonists, 4 of them, are going to be included as the next DLC fighter for Smash Brothers, coming in summer of this year. So
all alternate skins.
Yeah, relatively soon, we'll be seeing that character come in. I'm not super hyped. I don't know. I mean, I think it's cool that Dragon Quest is getting representation, but I have no sort of attachment to Dragon Quest as a franchise. Therefore, I don't really feel a particular way about it. Do you have any sort of...
No, I mean, I'm the same way. We're both biased in the fact that we just don't really have any attachment to Dragon Quest at all. So we're just like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
He looks cool.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's not like the screaming like, I don't even know what this is, but no, it's just, we're like, that's cool. Good to know.
Yeah, so...
I'll play you at some point in time.
Yeah. They kind of open with that. It's kind of cool. They're coming out relatively soon, I guess. After that, they kind of went into a little bit on Luigi's Mansion 3, which is crazy because, number one, I talked about this in our discussion with Proxens like a couple days ago, actually, and I had a couple of hopes going into Luigi's Mansion, and I feel like I remember specifically saying, when that Direct trailer starts rolling, there's a couple things I'm going to be looking for. Number one was Portragos, which we didn't necessarily get Portragos returning in this game. They're kind of taking on a new form of boss fights, as I understand, which is still, I'll pass it for now. There was also turning down the lights. So previously, before this trailer aired, all the game footage we had seen was like taking place in really well-lit rooms, and it was weird because you would see Luigi in these really brightly lit environments, still carrying around a flashlight, which kind of made it feel like decoration. But this trailer was super dark, and it was showing off all these boss fights, and one thing that absolutely took me by surprise, I know you don't know a whole lot about Luigi's Mansion, I'm just gonna finish up here and then we'll move on. Scarescraper is coming back. So Scarescraper was a multiplayer mode in Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, which I already knew that not a whole lot of people liked anyway, but the multiplayer mode, I feel like, was severely overlooked when that game first came out. And the fact that it's coming back at all in Luigi's Mansion 3 makes me really happy because I really loved it. It was so good. If you haven't played Scarescraper, definitely do so if you have a copy of Dark Moon, or if you can find one. Scarescraper is like a super, super fun multiplayer mode that you can play online. Do you have any thoughts about Luigi's Mansion 3 before we move on?
Yes, I played Luigi's Mansion 1.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I played through the whole thing on my cousin's GameCube because I didn't have one, so I went over to his house.
Wait, you didn't have a GameCube?
No, it's funny. I was the PlayStation part of the family. My cousin had all the Nintendo consoles, I had all the handhelds, but he had all the consoles, and then my other part of the family had the Xboxes. So we were actually pretty much separated into 3 categories.
Whoa! So as much Melee as you play, you have never owned a GameCube?
No.
Well,
Exactly.
okay, well.
But now I do, but that's besides the fact. Anyways.
All right. Well, I'm learning new stuff.
Luigi's Mansion, I'm kind of excited. I might end up picking it up myself to play it. Luigi's Mansion 1 was one of my favorite games to play of all time. Even though when I was a kid, I was a big scaredy baby. So like
that game was pretty scary.
It was. So anytime something would happen, I'd be like, ah! And just like shut it off. But then when I knew it was coming, I was like, all right, I'm ready for this. I'm ready to suck all the heart out of it. And I'm just like, that's pretty much what happened.
Oh, man.
I never finished the game though. I got up to the final boss and I never finished it.
It's good. I think it's worth it if you ever have the chance to. But
I want to go back and reconquer.
Do it.
Yeah, I want to do it.
Yeah.
Literally, I played through the entire game, except I just didn't beat the last boss. Like, that's it.
That one was kind of hard.
It was.
Anyways, moving on. Luigi's Mansion 3 is super exciting. I'm excited. It looks actually spooky again, which makes me happy. So, after Luigi's Mansion 3, I think they went into... This might be out of order. This is just going off of my memory, but I think after Luigi's Mansion, they went into a little bit of Fire Emblem 3 Houses, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Which I am excited about. I didn't expect a whole big spotlight on the game, which there really wasn't in comparison to everything else, but
there's a lot of cutscenes.
There was, and I think one thing new that we learned with this direct, and I could be wrong. If I am, someone's bound to correct me. But one thing that we did find out is that there's going to be like this mechanic of time, like progression in the game. So like in the trailer that we saw on the E3 direct today, you see like old versions of Edelgard and a couple of the other characters in the game, and there's like this time difference of like seeing them go from like the academy to like like war veterans or something. I don't know. I feel like we don't know a whole lot about the story, despite the fact that they've put it on the spotlight with every time that they talk about the game. But super excited about it. I don't know. I feel like the stuff that we saw today was very cinematic and bodes well for the part of me that just really wanted a more cinematic experience from Fire Emblem, because like up till this point on the 3DS, I mean, you would get cutscenes every now and then, but it would be after like key story, portions. So you would like progress a lot in the story, and then a cutscene will happen, and then progress a lot in the story or something. So this one seems to be a lot more focused on that immersion and like just building this whole cinematic feel to it. I don't know. I'm probably going to play it anyway and love it, but I'm just liking that aspect of it, and it just looks good. It looks beautiful. Seeing Fire Emblem go from 3DS to Switch is a huge, huge improvement, and it looks visually stunning. So I'm excited about it.
I want to say like a lot of games that were mostly part of just the Nintendo handheld console family now making their way over to Switch. You're seeing them make. Ooh. I feel like you're seeing a lot of them make big leaps in what they're doing. Yeah. So it's really exciting to see. It's really exciting to see like all of, like the handheld consoles basically moving to one of the best consoles we have right now in this generation, and they're just doing all these things. Like all of a sudden you're just gonna have a Fire Emblem movie at this point, like on your Switch.
Like when you started talking about 3DS games going to Switch, it got me thinking about one particular game that was talked about today. There was a couple of other ones before we get into this one, but there was things like Super Mario Maker was shown off a little bit, Astral Chain was shown off a little bit, which looks pretty cool. I mean, it's developed by Platinum, so it's bound to be good. There was Daemon X Machina, which I'm still kind of meh about. It just doesn't seem like it's my kind of game. But the real star of the show, one of them anyway, is Animal Crossing New Horizons, which, having put as much time into New Leaf as I have, and then seeing New Horizons finally get shown off is a godsend. I am so excited for that game. It looks visually stunning. Not only that, but during the Nintendo Treehouse Live, which I didn't get too much time to tune into, but the brief moments that I did get to catch before we had to leave to the convention center showed off a new revamped UI for the game, and the fact that items now automatically stack in your inventory, which is great. And then there's this whole, I think, aspect of building a camp like town from nothing or something.
That's what it looks.
I don't know. They gave us like a very brief look at it.
Yeah,
but
it kind of looks like Minecraft survival. But then people start coming over when you realize, oh wow, there's actually someone on that island. Maybe we should like go make friends with them.
Yeah.
Like, hop on board and like make a town. I feel like that's what's just gonna happen. It's just like you land on an abandoned island, and all of a sudden people are like, wow.
Oh wait, one thing that was during that trailer that I thought was insane that I want to know more about is like there was like this final sequence of the trailer that showed the player character walking along the beach, and then like from the sides of the screen you see other player characters start walking alongside that player. So
so possibilities of multiplayer.
I don't know. Maybe they talked about it in the treehouse. I'm not sure. But potential multiplayer would be cool, because that's one of the biggest things I would want to see from an Animal Crossing game.
Yes.
Made it into a video 8 months ago, and it would be great to see it finally happen. So, Animal Crossing, I mean, even if it doesn't, I feel like the game's going to be great. So, there's really, like, nothing they can do wrong. I mean, the fact that Animal Crossing's coming to the Switch is good enough for me.
That's all we needed,
So,
honestly.
New Leaf was already so good. I feel like they could just copy-paste that and I'd be fine. But obviously, they're going to make improvements anyway, so... there was that, but I know I said the star of the show last time, but this is like the thing that threw me out of my chair. Literally, I fell out of my chair.
I was there with them.
While we were watching this live. So all the other games, were great. All the other stuff that they were talking about was fine. But the real thing that caught my attention during this direct was at the very end. There was two things at the very end, but one of them, the first one, was the final, like, just after all these years of waiting, Banjo-Kazooie is finally in Smash Brothers, and honestly, I don't know how to feel still. I've watched that trailer at least 5 times today. I guarantee you, because like I was walking around the show floor today, just like saying out loud. You could probably vouch for this. Like, oh my god, Banjo-Kazooie is finally in the game. That's great.
No, we were walking around the convention a couple of times, and then just out of the blue, we would not be talking about it or anything, and Alec would just be like, you know what I want to do? I want to watch the Banjo-Kazooie trailer again.
And then I did.
And then he did.
And then look, we just came from dinner, and I did it there too. I watched it again, and I was just like, oh my god.
You know what? Now that I think about it, now that I really think about it, for the amount of time that we stood in the Pokemon Sword and Shield line, I want to know how many times we've watched that trailer while we were sitting.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I guess like the most I'll say about it for now, because I could probably talk about it all night, but Banjo-Kazooie to me feels like I posted this on Twitter too, just because it kind of perfectly summarizes my thoughts, but it feels like a love letter, to those of us that grew up loving Nintendo ever since the beginning, right? So, there's stuff on our desk. So loving Nintendo ever since the beginning, and for me, like my love for Nintendo started very early on. So like maybe I was like maybe 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. So I grew up with Nintendo, and being a Nintendo fan back in the mid to late 90s, just like in the N64 era with Banjo-Kazooie obviously being one of the most popular games at the time, and seeing them again, like just the way that they're depicted in this game, it's just so true to their form. I don't know. It's wild. So I'm super excited. Grant Kirkhope is also making a comeback, a return for the soundtrack and like some of the remixes that they're doing for Smash Brothers. So I couldn't be happier. Spiral Mountain's there too. See what I mean? I could talk about this forever, but do you have any opinions on Banjo-Kazooie now that I'm done talking?
Well, I'm a lot shorter because I've never played Banjo-Kazooie. The most interaction I've had with Banjo-Kazooie is when JonTron made a video on the whole like trilogy, or
Nuts and Bolts.
Then talked about it, and then I understand Nuts and Bolts doesn't exist, so I guess the first 2.
No, it doesn't.
But then,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but then the third one, But yeah, I think it's pretty hype. I'm very excited for all my friends who are excited about it.
Man.
It makes me happy to see them happy. So
I'll
be sure to try him out, and I'll see what he can do.
We have to wait until fall.
Well,
we have to wait until fall, but it's happening. I could watch the trailer every night before I go to bed until then, and I probably will. So, after Banjo-Kazooie, you thought they were done, but no. Nintendo followed it up with another spicy trailer, and this one actually took me by surprise, and it's funny because when we were watching the Direct, I think you were still sleeping at this point, but I was talking with everyone in chat at the time, and I was like, I have a feeling that we'll be hearing something about the next mainline Zelda game. And there was a couple people saying like, nah, Breath of the Wild came out relatively recently, there's no way. And I was like, maybe, but still, I'm gonna think to myself that that's probably gonna happen, and it did. So right after the Banjo-Kazooie reveal, they followed up with a teaser trailer for Breath of the Wild's sequel.
Yes.
Breath of the Wild 2 for short.
Because they don't have a name for it. But...
Yeah, they don't have a name for it. They just said like sequel in development or something.
Yes, exactly.
But the brief look that we got of it was very dark, and it was very perplexing because like it basically had Link and Zelda, which had a new hairstyle in this particular trailer. It was like a lot shorter, and she looked a lot more prepared for adventure, I guess you could say.
It looked nice.
So,
anyways,
they were kind of like traversing through this cave, and then you see like this monster, humanoid-looking monster, like possessed or something. I don't know. You just have to watch the trailer to kind of get what I mean. But couple things I have to say about that is, number one, I love the dark, themes going on in that trailer. It was very ominous, it felt very like genuinely spooky, kind of reminding me of a little bit of a Majora's Mask sort of vibe, which I love. I love Majora's Mask. It was great. I also love Twilight Princess for the same thing, where it kind of delved into those darker themes. Another thing too that caught my eye, which I'd actually really love to see, is that since Zelda looked a little bit more dressed for the occasion, if you will, that leads me to believe that maybe she'll be playable in Breath of the Wild 2.
That would be very nice. It looks like they're gonna go the same route as they did last game, where Ganon's the main villain. I was hoping maybe we could get either a new side villain or possibly a return villain like Vaati. Like I'm a big fan of him.
Is that linked to the?
No, that's not linked to. Minish Cap, I believe, is the one he's recognized for the most.
That makes sense. I've never played a 2D Zelda game, so I have no idea who that is.
But I was hoping for either that or even just a new side villain or return villain, because I know the Ganon is just like I get it. All right, Ganon's the main villain. Like he's there, but also seeing like the side stories pop off there, because there's more than one bad person in the world. So it would be cool. But you know what? I'm happy with it. I'm excited for it. And I am going to be picking that up day one.
Day one, dude. Day one. I thought it was going to be like Breath of the Wild DLC from the way that they presented it at first.
Oh, easily. I thought it was just like, what kind of... I was like, Breath of the Wild gets DLC? What?
Then I got misled. I got misdirected. I got bamboozled along with everyone else into thinking that it was DLC, when in reality it's a brand new game.
It's a sequel, and I'm just like...
Super excited about it. It looks great.
Yes.
All right. So, basically, that was Nintendo's E3 this year. I give it a solid A+. It was really good. I feel like there was something for everyone in that direct.
I give it an A+ and a star with a circle and smiley face.
All right. So, that was the direct. Moving on from then, we actually had to book it over to the convention center to get in line to get into the...
We didn't. But we did.
Well, it's good that we did, because there was a lot of people waiting to get in behind those doors.
Yeah, we got in. We got in basically 3 hours before they started letting people in. At least for like the regular gamer pass.
Yeah.
Everyone has, if you're not like an exhibitor or like sponsored press or whatever.
And then like 3 hours later, by the time they were letting everyone in, this like little holding room that they had us in was just full of people.
Yep.
There was like this dull roar of just how many people were in there having conversations amongst themselves. It was kind of hard to hear.
Yeah. Luckily, we were all the way we were like the 3rd row in the front.
Yeah, so we got in pretty quick.
Yeah, we got in pretty quick. We got into the Pokemon line relatively quickly.
So yeah, that's where we booked it. So I booked it to the Nintendo booth because I knew everything that they showed was probably going to be one of the most popular things on the floor, and it was!
And it was. They cut off the line...
yeah, like before the convention closed, too.
Way before the convention closed. Like, we were getting up to the front, and they cut off the line. I'm not going to lie, that's probably, like... We waited in line for about... How many hours? Like, 2 hours? 3 hours?
It was probably like 2.5.
2.5. Which you guys might think, oh wow, you guys waited there for a while. That's actually good.
That's actually a pretty good time.
That's actually amazing.
Especially for Pokemon.
Yeah.
In comparison to last year, I feel like that was pretty speedy.
It felt fast, which I feel like it's terrible to say.
Yeah, it did. But at the end of it, we were actually able to... It was cool. So every year, Nintendo has these beautiful booth designs that I feel like no other developer puts that much like thought and care into presenting. But this year for Pokemon, they actually built the water gym that you see in the E3 Direct trailer. And that's like the stage that you play in for this demo. And so you play in the water gym, and the demo actually surrounds, battling the water gym. So in the demo, I'll just go ahead and tell you about my experience, and we'll go over to yours. So in the demo, they kind of just drop you in the water gym, and they give you this pre-assigned team. So from what I remember, they gave me Sobble, Grookey, Scorbunny, Corviknight, Wooloo, and I can't remember the sixth one. I want to say it was. I want to say it was like the Gossiflower? Yamper. Okay, so yeah, Yamper's the new one. Okay, so Yamper's one of the new Pokemon. They actually didn't talk about in the trailers at all, but kind of just like showed us in the demo. But anyways, that was the team, and there's like this little puzzle in the water gym that you go through, and at the very end you fight Nessa, which Nessa is super cool. I love her design. She's super awesome. Probably one of my top tier Pokemon gym leaders, and the game's not even out yet. So yeah, you fight against Nessa, and my fight against her actually went pretty crazy. It went pretty crazy.
Yeah, mine was mine didn't go over.
She was tough.
She was tough. Yeah, and I was catching the hands for a little bit. And I was like, I need to.
Well, it's I feel like it was all sort of tied to like the Dynamax thing. So on her team, she had a Vulpix. No. What did she have? That was someone else.
That was the first trainer.
That was the first trainer. Yeah.
She had
something.
She had a Goldeen.
I think she had a Goldeen.
Yeah, it was a Goldeen.
But her second Pokemon, Dreadnought, in my demo, she Dynamaxed that, and that thing hit like a truck. So in my demo, she knocked out two of my Pokemon, and I threw out Wooloo because I wanted to Dynamax Wooloo and see what that looks like. Just in case anyone's curious, it's adorable. Giant baby sheep Pokemon on the stage. It's great. But I Dynamaxed Wooloo, and this Dreadnought thing demolished this poor sheep that I threw out onto the battlefield, despite the fact that Wooloo was Dynamaxed as well. So, like, she was just steamrolling through most of my team with that Dreadnought, but I eventually came back with my Grookey and then kind of, finished it up from there. But the demo itself, I mean, a couple of things I really liked about it is, number one, the trainers in the game emote a lot more. Like, they're a lot more expressive. So, like, in battles, you'll see them do, like, these weird, crazy animations if they lose. Or, like, I noticed that if I win a battle as the trainer, like, you and your Pokemon kind of strike a pose together to celebrate, which I thought was adorable, by the way.
It was. Yeah.
So, like, seeing those expressions and stuff like that in the battles was actually really cool. And then, of course, the visuals themselves looked amazing, especially with the water gym. The water effects are great. But the demo was really short in comparison to Let's Go from last year.
Yeah, it was really short. But in Let's Go, they kind of were just like, just walk around the forest.
Walk around Viridian Forest and see what happens.
Just see what happens.
Whereas this one, it was like maybe at a max of like 3 or 4 battles.
Yeah, and I think, personally, kind of like a closed line demo is definitely better than like the open line demo that they did at Viridian. Because at least then you would know when you were done, as opposed to somebody be like, all right, well, you walked around for like 30 minutes, now you're done.
That might be why we were actually able to get there relatively quickly.
Yeah, that also might be why, because people might have just been like, all right, I finished gym. It's like, all right, your demo's done. Like, all right, thanks.
It was a pretty short demo, but I enjoyed my time with it. How did yours go?
Mine went pretty well. Person overseeing that demo was really nice.
Yeah, you told me. What, he said that you were like really good at type matchups or something?
Yeah, he just saw me. He saw me like plowing through the gym. Like I'm switching out, trying out the new types that are super. Just making sure hit this water type with the spark. And he's like, oh yeah, you're doing pretty swell there, buddy. I'm like, thanks,
you're like,
man. Thanks,
man. This is actually really challenging.
No, but he was cool, and I plowed through the trainers pretty easily.
Yeah.
I almost got lost in the gym for a second.
Wait, Nessa almost beat you?
No. I almost got like the maze.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I felt so dumb. The guy had to be like, hey, you gotta go press that one. And I get it because he wanted to get more people in, but I was like, oh man, that made me feel so dumb.
He had to guide me a little bit at the end, and I was like, oh yeah.
I felt like I was taking the average amount of time though to like scope the puzzle out and like track out in my head what needs to be done, but he was kind of like pushing me along. Which, speaking of like, what is it? They called them ambassadors, but I called them like the staff. So like the staff guy that I got, he was very hands-off, which I appreciate because I like to, when I play games like that and when I demo new games, I kind of like to just explore for myself. But it was so funny because seeing him interact with me the way that he did versus everyone else at the Nintendo booth, I was very like, hey, welcome, come try Pokemon. They were like very lively. This dude, I walk up to the booth, right? And pretend, like I'm going to pretend that you're me and I'm the dude. He was like, so, you played Pokemon before? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay. And then just kind of let me do what I wanted to do, which I just thought that was funny.
Yeah. My Nessa gym battle went pretty smooth. You know, I killed Goldeenov pretty easily.
That Dreadnought though.
And then all of a sudden Dreadnought comes out and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna switch out. So I switched. I had Grookey in against the Dreadnought.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I need Dynamax Grookey because he was like, oh yeah, Dreadnought is like a rock water type. Like, all right, so basically I could end this battle on one Dynamax Grookey Razor Leaf.
Yeah.
So I go to do that, and then he doesn't die, and I'm just like, what? And then he just slams that rock right on top of me with like the rock wall of his Dynamax move, and I just die. And I'm like, oh.
I will say though,
okay.
like as weird as the Dynamax thing is, and I still want to figure out how that affects like stats and everything, because I felt like I had no point of reference as to like how strong my attacks were when I was Dynamaxed. But I will say that watching it happen in game is actually really visually impressive.
Yeah.
It looks really cool. It actually looks like I'm gonna relate this to Yu-Gi-Oh! Because you see like the tiny trainer and like the big monster, like kaiju level size Wooloo that I sent out. It was cool. It has a cool presentation to it, and I don't know. That demo kind of left me a little bit more excited, I think.
Yeah.
To try out the full game.
And I think the moves definitely go a lot faster. With Z moves, they have.
Oh my God, you're right.
They have to strike up a whole pose, then they have to so the Pokemon get powered up, then they have to do the whole charge up.
That's that's a good point.
But with the Dynamax moves, they looked very overpowering, but they took an immense amount of less time.
Yeah, and it was maybe like 1 or 2 seconds of battle animations, and that's it.
Yeah, which is, I know it's a nitpick thing, but especially in the competitive Wi-Fi battling community, that's just like one thing that everyone's like, oh, it takes forever for this to happen.
That's probably what you want, though, because it like streamlines the process while not also like sacrificing too much else.
Yeah, I'd say you found a good midpoint for like, showing off powerful moves, but also at the same time keeping the battle moving along.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. I didn't think about that. Anyway, so yeah, that demo experience was cool, and we got some free pins, which was nice.
Yes, they were very nice.
And after that, it got pretty close to the...
I'll grab him to show.
Oh, he's going to grab him to show us. But after that, no, I think it was actually getting pretty close to closing time at that point, so we didn't really have much time to do anything else. So pretty much our whole day surrounded just the Nintendo Direct and Pokemon, playing Pokemon Sword and Shield. There's the pins.
These are the pins.
Those are the pins. Look how pretty.
They are very nice.
I like them. I was
so nervous because I noticed people were posting on Twitter, hey, I got these pins. And I was like, oh, nice. I was like, wait a minute, do I have to choose which pin I get? And then they were like, nah, you just
get a whole pack.
And
Heck yeah.
I was impressed, honestly. I was thoroughly impressed by that.
Oh yeah, I like it. So plan for tomorrow for me is probably just going to be heading straight to Link's Awakening. I want to give that a try. And I think that's it. I'm probably going to be demoing Luigi's Mansion on Thursday. And that'll knock out some of the big titles for me. So you didn't get a chance to do anything else different other than I did after Pokemon, right?
No, yeah, Pokemon pretty much ate up our time. But tomorrow I'll head with you to go to Link's Awakening. Yes. And after that, I don't know what else to do. I think we want to scope out the convention a little bit more, see if they have any Overwatch tournaments. Team Selectra
making a return, defending champions.
Would be nice.
That would be cool.
But
that would be cool. But that pretty much wraps up day 1 of E3 so far. It's been great. I've been really enjoying it. And is there anything else you'd like to add before we sign off here for the day?
No, E3's going great, and I am very excited for day 2.
Day 2. Heck yeah. All right, well, thank you all for joining us for our little day 1 E3 recap chat, talk, discussion, hangout. I've been joined by our friend ShadowLink. Obviously, he's a good friend of the channel, and I'll put all of his social media links down in the description below whenever this video goes live. So, I guess that's it.
That's it.
All right, well, we'll be back tomorrow for day 2's recap, and there's always one last thing that I forget. What is it? All right. Even he already knows. All right, so there's one thing that we have to say before we take off, and that is, of course, as always, I'm alecandstuff. This is, who are you?
ShadowLink here.
That is ShadowLink, and we will see you all again tomorrow. Bye.
You're supposed to say real soon.
Well, we're gonna see them tomorrow.
But tomorrow is real
Tomorrow. We're gonna leave it at tomorrow, which is also soon. So I guess it kind of covers both.
Okay,
sides of
bye.
it. Okay, bye.